What up, guys?
What up, yo?
Oh, living the dream.
Yeah, feel that.
Hell yeah.
Another wonderful day.
Well, not bad for a Monday, that's for sure.
Yeah, I woke up with a wicked hangover, but I went to work anyways and did great,
Well, there you go, that's all it matters.
Boy, it is hot and the air is thick and humid and just like all nasty out today, though.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's raining a little bit again, so that's cool.
Oh, interesting. That's fun.
It was, we actually got hammered earlier, which is great. It was perfect timing. I needed a chassis to get delivered from a sandblasting shop. Sent out the transport email, and it showed up, but it showed up hours later. I was like, it's got to get picked up at 11. The rains are coming. And they picked it up. They dropped it off, and about, 12 minutes later, absolute downpour. So that's got to go back to sandblast.
Yeah, right. Mud blast, more like it.
Yeah, appreciate it. Whatever. It's only a few $100, that the job gets is what it is. Could be worse, I suppose. However, not much worse because, that's why I sent out the email saying, hey, it's going to be ready at this time. It's got to get picked up. And, they were just obviously busy. So, whatever. Classic Monday.
Yeah.
So what's good, man? What's new? It's been a little bit,
Yeah. Not a whole lot going on. Same shit, different day. Really, that's not too much going on. I guess there's a leak somewhere in my bathroom. My landlord texted me earlier today. It was like, yeah, man, my water bill's really high. I wonder what's going on. I got a plumber coming over to look around, and so
nice.
Probably gonna get some work done in my apartment over the next couple of days, week or two or whatever. So fucking thrilled about that.
Well, at least the landlord is keeping an eye on things, if you will, because most people, not only would they bitch about the bill, but they wouldn't go out of their way to send a plumber in to inspect it. They would contact you and be like, what are you doing? Why is my bill through the roof? Blah, 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 blah. Well, this guy's actually being proactive and like, let's see what the problem is.
Yeah, shit if I know, man.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, like, hey, who the fuck pays the water bill? I've been living here for like 10 goddamn years, and I have never thought about a water bill. Like, I pay the electric company. Is that not what I'm doing here? Like, I guess that's a different system. Like, I'm 37 system, and I'm that fucking naive.
It's totally different system. Because we grew up on well water.
Yeah.
So there's no such thing as a water bill. Technically, there isn't a water bill.
It's my electric bill. Yeah.
Yeah, it's your electric bill, and then you get a bill when your fucking well pump goes out. I know that from experience.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But yeah, we don't. We're not privy to the water bill. But you pay your electric bill, but obviously your what do you heat with? Oil?
Realistically, I pretty much don't heat my apartment. Like, no kidding. Since I live on the second floor, and it's like an old style house, so like there are two vents. Like, I can just see downstairs. Like, I put a bookcase over one of them and like a carpet over the other, but my apartment just stays warm all the time. For the most part, like, I do have a propane heater, like a real nice Rinnai one. But I literally only just keep it topped up, like with AmeriGas or whatever, just to like keep the tank full. But I use a little space heater from time to time in my bedroom. So like I just always try to focus my bills on electric, and that was one of the reasons I did that.
Yeah, right.
It's like once a year I pay like $60 for my propane. And that's just about it. And then, whatever change there is in electricity. But, man, if I turn on my fucking computer, like, that's going to pretty much heat up my living room. Like, that's how little change it takes, even during, like, the winter.
Well, that's good. You very well could have your water and your heat included in your rent, and you just pay the electric bill. But, some places, they do heat, hot water, electric. Electric these days is like next to impossible to get included because it's so freaking expensive.
Well, yeah, that's one of my buddies years ago, he was living in an apartment, and heat, hot water, electricity, everything was included. It was, kind of pricey. I think it was $1,500 a month or some shit like that. But everything was included, and so he started growing weed because he's like, well, fuck it, my electric bills, whatever.
Yeah, right. The hell with it. It's on you. It's on you, buddy. No, dude, because I heat with electric. Well, I have electric everything, so I actually, I guess I do have some semi-big news, I suppose. I finally said fuck it and pulled the trigger, and I'm having Anderson windows installed.
Oh, that's an expensive but fun time.
It's a very expensive and I guess a fun time. But, honestly, I was pushing Anderson off for a long time because you're paying for a name, right? I guess some things are built differently, right? And Anderson Windows supposedly is one of those things built differently. But the price tag is outrageous. So, you look at what you're going to save and what it's going to cost and everything. And so they gave me the perfect scenario that really spoke to me, right? He said, you can save 25 to 40% on your heating and cooling bill. And I heat with electric, and I cool with electric, right? So, okay. And I said, well, what is that based off of? And they basically said, old, outdated, drafty windows and electric baseboard heating. And I'm like, ironically enough, I have electric baseboard heating, and I have Anderson windows from 1967 when the house was built. So I have old, drafty windows.
Yeah.
So I was like, you just spoke to me. You're telling me that I'm going to save 25 to 40%, proven on your paperwork, right? Cool. So even if I only get 25%, it's still 25% savings. But the windows that I chose, or me and the wife chose, it's one of the highest, recoup. You can expect to get 69% bank. It's roughly if you were to sell the house. So I figure if I could potentially get 69% of the outrageous money I just spent back, and then I'm going to save 25 to 40% on my heating and cooling, which is most of my electric bill, let's be honest, then I theoretically, right, on the highest note, I'm getting 69% back if I were to sell the house, but I'm not. And I'm saving 40% of my utilities. So I'm up 9%. I'm getting 9% back. So it's like, okay, that's, I guess, fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those investments that's worth it because it's like buying a car that's really good on gas. The efficiency often outweighs the investment.
It absolutely does. And so I mean, my electric bill is outrageous, right? So if I save 40% on my electric bill,
well, if they would just turn off the goddamn lights, it wouldn't be that big of an issue. But
right? But you think about it, right? So they give you a 20-year guarantee, right? And it's a lifetime warranty, 20-year installation guarantee. If anything goes bad over the next 20 years, it's they'll consider it an installation error and they'll come and fix that motherfucker. But if the window itself, for some reason, the panes separate and there's fogging, which there never should be supposedly in these windows,
right?
Because of what they do.
Well, they seal them and then they backfill it with argon or some shit. So it's
argon and something else, and the two gases work together so that even if it does crack, it's not supposed to fog.
Right.
And I'm like, whatever, what I mean? So, but if that shit ever happens, they come back and they replace it for the lifetime of the window. So it's lifetime windows, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for what I just spent,
well, but somewhere in the contract, lifetime is 50 years or some shit.
Yeah, lifetime is technically a 25-year span.
25, yeah.
25. So, I mean, that's long enough for me to say, okay, worth the investment. But if I were to save, let's say, I did save 40% on my utilities because of these new windows, I can expect these windows to pay for themselves just in my utility bill savings over the next 10 years.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm going to save that money. And then after that, it's pure profit, right? It's pure, not profit, but money I don't have to spend from that point on, right? And, that's just 10 years. So over the lifetime, I've got 15 more years of going, nice. So theoretically, it was a smart choice. But I got a quote from them a few years ago, And I scoffed at the price then because, as everybody does when it comes to buying something expensive, you go, Jesus Christ, that's a pretty penny. What are you guys all retiring off of me? But the price obviously does nothing but go up.
Yeah.
So now, there's three companies that come to mind. You got Anderson, you got Pella, and you got Harvey, right?
Yeah.
And they're all good names in their own way, right? But he's got samples of all this crap, right? And I'm like, first I'm going to start this conversation by saying I don't like your price. He goes, how do you know? I said, I've gotten quotes from you guys before, and my parents just purchased windows through Anderson. I know what they paid. It's outrageous. I said, I already know I don't like the price. So we go through the whole spiely deal. And then I said, like, I'm leaning more towards Harvey, but I'm also thinking Pella. So, shoot your shot. What do you got, And so he starts going through, and he pulls out the samples, and I look at this one sample. He goes, oh, you like that one? I go, no, I don't like that one. I said, I've repaired so many fucking windows because of this design. He goes, yeah, we patented this technology back in 1957. We realized pretty quickly that it was going to cause more problems than it was worth, so we released a patent. We got rid of it. We never used it again. And I said, okay, let me ask you something. When you guys released the patent, did anybody scoop it up? Does anybody still hold it today? And he goes, that's a good question. Nobody's ever asked it. And I'm like, that's odd. That's odd. Why would you ask that, right? He goes, but to answer your question, yes, Pella. And I'm like, fucking Pella picked up this crap technology. All right, so let's wipe them right out of the box, right? You're good. Now we're down to Harvey and Anderson. And so then he's got the two, frames and the moldings and all that shit. He's got samples of all the crap. And, the Anderson stuff, the windows that I got, or I'm getting installed, you can only get through Anderson. Like, this guy or one of these guys has to come to the house, has to sell you the project. They're custom fit, custom, made, all this happy horse shit with products, materials, technology that they've patented that is not available to anybody other than these guys. Even an Anderson contractor, like somebody who's authorized to do Anderson windows, cannot get these. All right, cool. So I'm holding the two materials in my hand, and one of them feels like my kids' toys, and the other one feels like my toys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. I said, now, this is pretty goddamn close to what's on the market. I said, who uses this? And he's like, well, Harvey does. I said, okay. So Harvey uses what? He goes, they use this in their contractor windows. So if you have somebody that's not direct with Harvey, a factory rep come to your house, this is what you're going to get. Okay. But here's the funny thing about Harvey. If you go to the Harvey headquarters, right? Harvey Windows, big name, all this happy horse shit. I'll give you a guess on what kind of windows they have in that building.
yeah, right. It's not Pella. It's not Harvey.
It's not Pella.
It's probably not Harvey Windows either, huh?
It's not Harvey, I'll tell you that.
There you go. Probably got fucking Anderson in there.
They have fucking Anderson windows in their building. All right, well, I guess here we go. And so the price that I got years ago was obviously cheaper, but it's obviously not going down. So I said, fuck it. And it started at their number, right? And the number's never the number. There's always negotiations to be had. There's always of course, there's, military discount. There's the we're here today, sign the papers discount. And there's this was the real big killer for the price was, well, there's the whole project discount. Because some people, they hear the fucking price and they go, Jesus God, I'm only going to do my first floor right now. Or,
Yeah.
I'm only going to do the second floor. And if you choose to do the entire project, they give you an extra discount.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, when it was all said and done, they ended up taking about $20,000 off the price.
Damn.
Sign the fucking papers, man. I guess here we go.
All right, can't knock that.
Well, so, and then, like I said, if I get, if I can expect to see asterisks next to it, 69% of my investment, a return on investment, so my ROI is going to be 69%. I guess that's not a bad thing either, because, if I were to sell the house in 10 fucking years and people see these windows in there, they go, I don't have to worry about it. The windows are done. It's almost as if they just spent, and in 10 years, let's say, 10 years, it'll probably be $70,000, right? who knows, 100 grand before discount, 70,000 after, right? And they go, oh, geez, I don't have to spend $70,000 on this house. Awesome.
Yeah, then, I mean that's yes, exactly.
Because people don't like doing that shit, man. I mean, I sure saw when I bought my house. Obviously there were certain things that I found in the inspection that I was like, no, you have to do this. And there were some things that they had to do, and then there were some things that I said, well, I want you to do, you know.
Yeah.
And they did it all, and blah blah blah. So, he wanted to sell the house, and I wanted to buy the house. I wasn't negotiating the price, which is what everybody else was doing. Is they were saying, well, here's $100,000 because I got to do this, this, and this. And I walked in, I said, I'm going to give you every penny that you're asking for, but you got to do this, this, and this. So they did this, this, and this. They got the fucking money for it. And lo and behold, well, Pat, what's happened in the last few years with property values?
I haven't been really attentive to the market, but I hear shit's gotten quite expensive.
Shit's gotten quite expensive. So my full face value offer with them doing this, this, and this was a really good move because it put everybody else out of the question. There was so many offers on the house, and they accepted mine because I was the only full face offer. They took it. Well, that being said, like you said, I'm what I've got $200,000 in equity in this place now.
There you go.
And it's just because property values are through the goddamn roof now.
Yeah.
And we're not going to go back down. Everyone's like, oh, values will start going back down. People will stop buying houses. That'll drive the numbers back down. No, it absolutely did not. 25% of the houses on the market are owned by companies or private organizations that don't fucking live there. They're renting them out to people like you and me, right? And then you've got fucking another, 15 to 20% of them are owned by, individuals used as, a rental property.
Right,
and then you've got another 10, 15% of the homes on the market are owned by those same fucking people or just rich people in general as vacation homes and shit. So you're realistically left with only 50% of the market to choose from, and most of those are inhabited. So the values of the house never went down. In fact, they're still going up. But what did go up is the fucking interest rate. So now everyone's paying $600,000 for the house that should never have cost more than $300,000. And instead of paying 2.25% interest, they're paying 7 and 8%. That's fucking wild.
That does seem expensive.
It's too crazy. So then you think about it, you're like, well, the future. Why would the rates ever go back down, right? Well, they probably will dip a little bit, but they're never going to go down to the historic low of 2.25, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's never going to happen again. Knock on wood. Hopefully it does, but it probably won't. So you've got these houses that people are buying for $600,000, $700,000, $800,000, fucking 7-8%, and then they come in and you go, oh, also it needs $120,000 worth of work because the windows in the bathroom are outdated. So, and the plumbing is old, right? Well, that's what I had. I had a house from 1967 with old, outdated, leaking copper pipes, a 1967 bathroom, and fucking 1967 windows. So I bought the house, full face value, got the fucking big things that they had to take care of, taken care of, and now it's on to me. Yeah. So what did I do? Redid the fucking upstairs. Well, I'm still remodeling it, but I already did the shower and all that crap. So the bathroom is good to go, right? I've moved 90% of the copper to PVC and PEX, right? So now I've gotten rid of all that old copper into the new age. And now the last real big thing to do is the windows. So...
And then a metal roof. Got to get that fucking... Yeah. Go for a stone roof like a real pimp.
Trust me, I've put some serious thought in that metal roof. But I don't...
It's legit.
The problem with it, Pat, is that it rains often enough in Connecticut that would be obnoxious. I don't know if I could hang with that. You know what I mean? Never have to replace it, but probably never want to be home. Not when it's raining.
Oh, because of the noise? You think so?
Well, it depends. I think it would be a lot of noise, but
I doubt it's even that bad.
See, you don't know until you try, right? And that's where I've been with it too. It's like, it can't possibly be that bad.
I don't know anybody.
I've got heavy insulation in the attic. You probably only would hear it if I was upstairs. Wouldn't even hear it if I was downstairs, type thing. Yeah. But it's like, then I go and spend the money on that metal roof, And the first time it fucking downpours, I'm like, Jesus Christ, what am I in a barn?
This isn't what I want. Yeah.
So, plus, I don't know how solar is with metal roofs, and that's another thing I'll have to do here soon is go solar, just to have the efficiencies up there.
Well, and like you were just saying, I mean, it's gonna be an investment that's gonna pay itself off.
Exactly. Theoretically, I mean, if I could drop 25 to 40% off my utilities just because of these windows, right? And then I can drop another, let's say, 40 to 60% off on top of that. You know what I mean? It's not an add this to it. It's an off of that number, right? So if I could take another 40 to 60% off just by having solar, I mean, that's not bad. If I could get myself down to the 25 to 30% of my original utility cost, I'm okay with that. That sounds pretty damn good.
Yeah. As long as the kids turn off those goddamn lights.
Just turn off the fucking lights. Yeah, it'll never happen. So I got to set it up actually when I get home. Now I'm thinking about it, but I'll probably forget that too. But I upgraded the ACs recently, and they're on Wi-Fi now, so that I can control them from wherever I am.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
because it's hot as fuck out, you know what I mean? And you're not necessarily home all the time, but, what if somebody forgets to turn the AC off upstairs, and it's just cranking away all fucking day, and it's basically just cooling down the attic? And I love the bat. We have a bat that lives in our attic. He's awesome. He comes out at night and eats shit, just like bats do. He's cool as fuck. Doesn't cause any problems. But I also don't give a fuck about how comfortable he is up there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
So it can be hot and humid all at once in the attic. I'm not worried about it. Let's turn that bad boy off.
It's funny you say that because I leave my AC on in my apartment like all day. Well, again, this harkens back to the beginning of our conversation. Like, how do I heat my apartment? I don't. It's just always kind of warm. So, yeah, I do need to run an AC in my apartment. Like, if I didn't have my air conditioner running on low, like it's in my bedroom, and then I have a fan blowing air around all throughout my apartment, right?
Yeah.
And it's not big. Like, I don't know the fucking square footage because it's weird shaped. Like, I'm not doing the math. But if I didn't have an air conditioner on today, it would have been hotter inside than it was outside for fucking sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Which, that's not how I live. Like, I'm a big fat bastard, and I need to be able to breathe.
But at least you can have your bedroom unit on low, and it'll cool your apartment.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's good stuff. I've got the 2 units and the exhaust fan. Of course, you don't use them both at the same time. But that's a different conversation. And I tell you what, the big unit downstairs and the small unit upstairs, even that is sometimes not enough.
Well, you also have like a full fucking house.
Yeah, but and
those kids throwing off all that heat.
All that time throwing shade too, though. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's wild because I still need a couple of mini splits. You know what I mean? Like, take the window units, right, and throw in a couple of Energy Star, mini splits for heating and cooling. Obviously with heat pumps. The windows and getting the solar. And that should make me pretty efficient. Which, good on them for, making the house all electric back in the 60s when electricity was cheap as fuck, and little did they know it was going to become one of the most expensive things in the future. But everything is going electric, right? Everyone's preaching electric. So I mean, at least I'm already there. Now I just need to work on making it efficient, because back in '67 there were different standards.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Little bit.
But at least when it comes down to it, like, the money that I'm dumping into this fucking place, it still doesn't even come close to what the house is worth.
Oh, yeah. I know what
you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't even... I'd probably need... Jesus Christ, that was almost a good one. After the windows, and then you go with the solar, and, it's probably $150,000, right? But like I said, I've got $200,000 in equity, so we're still not even up to it. And the value it's irrelevant, really. Zillow can tell you whatever Zillow wants to tell you, but until you put the for sale sign on the property. You really don't know what it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, you know, it's not out of this world still. You know, for years it was the norm, but even now, you put a for sale sign on the house, and I say I want $365 for this place. The chances of me selling it for more than $365 are incredibly good.
Wow.
So, you know, you're already, whatever that number is, you just throw it out the window. It's just like something to think about. That's all. But again, you know, it won't even be close to what it's worth. And then on top of that, I want to eventually put a garage and shit up. And it's like, you know, I could put an addition on the house, do the solar, do the windows, and still come out on top. You know what I mean? But then, you know, it also increases the value of the house. So, okay, cool. Now all these things that I'm doing to the place, you know, it takes that number that we're talking about. If I want, you know, the $365,000 price tag, it takes that number and now it becomes a $465,000 price tag. You know, a $525,000 price tag. And I'm still under $300,000 by a long shot. So, man, adulting is just fucked.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've watched more than a few things about like the housing market and stuff, just like in general. That's why like some of the specifics about the conversation we were having, it's like I'm not really like super tuned in, but just like general trends and stuff. Like I don't know if I'll ever own a house. Like that's honestly something. Like we've had conversations about like owning property and maybe building something on it. Like that is honestly where I think that I would have the most luck going forward. And I don't mean luck. I just mean like I pay way less rent than I should, honestly. Like when you were saying, hey, you got a good landlord, it's like he's good at some things, but like he doesn't charge me enough money. And don't get me wrong, Dave, don't fucking raise my rent, but
yeah, don't
like,
fuck around, dude.
For what I pay here, like I would have to at least double or triple my rent allotment out of my paycheck to like own a house, like to get a mortgage on it. And one of the things, like, for my mental health is I could get a U-Haul truck and put all my shit in it today and fucking be gone. Like, that's one of the things that, like, for some reason I like that aspect of my life. Like, this is my home. Yeah, for sure. Like, this is where I set my life up. But if I just won the fucking lottery, boom, I'm out of here, you know? Not a care in the world kind of thing.
Yeah, and not for nothing, but like you do enjoy that lifestyle. But why would you even need why would you need my house?
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, the size makes like no sense for someone like me.
Right. Like you wouldn't need that. So there's no reason for you to go searching for that. Thank God, because like you said, the price of a fucking house these days is astronomical. It's almost unattainable for most people.
Yeah, and I mean, that's very legitimately was a lot of conversations that I've seen online and stuff like that, is that, hey, you know, people my age, our age, if it wasn't set up already, there's a good chance that you'll never get a fucking house.
Never get it. You know, so I've got a guy that works out in the shop, and he's in his late 20s now, early 30s. He's somewhere around 30, right? So he just bought a house, right? Single guy, first-time home buyer, you know, lived with his grandparents up until then. It is what it is. You know, his grandmother was old. She just recently passed, rest her soul. So he was kind of taking care of her. Not that he was qualified to do that, but he's still being a good grandson, right? Goes out, buys a house. $215,000, I think he paid for this thing. It's in a business district of East Hartford. So, you know, he pays too much for too little. The only thing he likes about this house is the garage. It's got epoxy floors. It's heated. He's got a motorcycle. Good for him. Hates the rest of the house, and it's fucking tiny. This dude, I mean, when I bought my house years ago, he said I gave him full asking price. I only paid $155 for my house, and $155 for my house nowadays. Good fucking luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. Never happened.
Yeah.
Never happened. The thing's got to be crumbling to the ground. Going to need to level it out for you to pay $155 for a house like mine. That's ridiculous. So, and his mortgage is hundreds more than mine. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Like, I know that I make way more than you do. Like, how are you? Oh yeah, the bank's calling again. You might want to answer that. Like, it's just crazy to think, like, okay, here's a dude that's making, mid-30s, whatever, and he's barely able to hang on to that mortgage. Dude, you used to be able to. You remember Married with Children? The show Married with Children? Yeah, Al Bundy.
Yep.
Yeah, so he had a stay-at-home wife, Peggy, who was high maintenance, right?
Yep.
He had that high-maintenance daughter and that shitbag son.
Yeah.
All right, well, he had a 4-bedroom house, right? 2-car garage, stay-at-home wife, and 2 kids.
Right, and he sold shoes.
He sold fucking shoes, dude.
Yeah.
And you know why that show was that? Because that's what you used to be able to fucking do.
Yeah, because that was America for a long time.
That was America for a long-ass time. Single income, shoe salesman, stay-at-home wife, fucking 2 kids. Done. Retire at 55. Now, you got 2 people working until you're 70 plus, and even that might not be good enough. If you got 2 people working, let's just say both people are okay, but they didn't really make it far, right? And you got 2 people working just above minimum wage. They're not going to be able to do it.
No. Like,
just how that works.
Yep.
So it's just crazy, man. But like you said, luckily in your situation, you don't even need a fucking house, so who cares?
Yeah.
But for the people that are out there looking for a house because they need one, man, I don't envy those people at all.
Yeah, I definitely lucked out on not having that kind of life.
You still should have, years ago, you should have bought that place when you had the chance.
Well, yeah. Hey, retrospect much.
Yeah, I know. That's we live a lot in hindsight, but yeah, that should. I told you that you should have done that. Even if you couldn't afford it, make it happen. Because look at that. Like, just strictly because, whatever he was charging for that place, you'll never get that deal again.
Right. Yeah. No, I feel that.
And how much rent has gone up. Like, if you bought the place years ago, and the rent's adjusted with the times, and you just stayed right there in your apartment, you'd be making money off of living there.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Now, not 100%, but you'd be making, even if it was just a couple $100 extra on top of what your mortgage was a month, and you had a free place to stay. That's a $1,000 a month swing. $1,000 back in your pocket. It's like, yeah, now people are paying $3, $4, sometimes even $500,000 for multifamily units. A 2-family home, you're going to spend $400,000 on that now. I mean, not necessarily, the place that you're at. I don't know the size of it. You know what I mean? But you're still talking probably at least.
Oh yeah, it's at least $250,000 more. Yeah, it's a pretty decent sized, 2-floor house. Yeah. Yeah. So, and the downstairs is pretty big too.
Just wild,
Yeah.
Well, it's too bad because the people that need a place probably will struggle to find a place. But people that don't need a place, well, thank God, because whatever. And I'm just happy that I could say I was one of the last people I know to get a good deal on my house.
Yeah.
And everyone said at the time, like I said, I can't believe you offered full value. Why wouldn't I? Like, I wasn't going to let the house. It was the very last house I looked at. 30-something fucking houses we looked at. It was the very last one. Why would I let this deal slip by? It's exactly what we're looking for the time being. It's a price that I can deal with, and it's only going to go up. Everybody knows that. Look at Grandpa's house.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
Grandpa paid what, $40,000 for that thing back in the day?
No idea. Yeah, not much.
Not much. 3-bedroom, 1-bath, whatever, like $40,000. But if you look at what the house is worth now, it's worth $250,000. Yeah. And it's under 1,000 square feet. 3-bedroom, 1-bath, right? Boom, done. That's a sweet deal. And that's how it just goes over the years. So it's like, now people trying to buy property are having a hell of a hard time, which sucks because that's just another way that the rich are going to get richer. But if you can get your hands on a house, it's only going to go up in value. Unless the thing's dilapidated, falling down, it's only going to go up. Because I believe we had a conversation once, and I said something along the lines of, they'll never make more land.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is they don't. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll never happen, so. But, yeah, dude. And then I start thinking about, like, oh, man, I do a lot of work in condo communities now, and I actually have to go there soon and do some work there, one of my clients. But they pay out the ass for their HOA fees, you know what I mean? It's crazy, you know what I mean? Like, paying out the ass. But they have a beautiful community pool that's taken care of, very well taken care of. They have a landscaping crew on site, always taking care of your mulch and your bushes and shit. They've got snow removal team ready to go, saying landscaping crew, all that crap. That's not bad. You know what I mean? That's not a bad gig if you're, like a lot of these people that I do work for are single. You know what I mean? They're retired and divorced or widowed, whatever. But they're single living. It's like, that's not a bad gig. You're paying somebody to take care of all this stuff for you, but you don't have to take care of any of this crap. That's not a bad gig. But then you look at the price of even a fucking condo nowadays, it's through the roof. Yeah. and you could literally punch a hole through the wall and slap your neighbor in the face.
Yeah, I was watching just before we got on the call here. What the fuck is the title of the video? Inside New York's smallest apartments, and he says it gets smaller and smaller as like the video goes on, and the first one, the hallway, is 2.5 feet wide. If you put your back on one wall, you can touch the other one with the palm of your hand, and it's a 6-floor walk up. Yeah, $3,800 a month.
Yeah.
And it's just like, the fuck out of here.
So my buddy Matt, you know Matt, he used to rent a place from his people in Hampton, and they own a place in Manhattan. It's an apartment building they bought back in the 70s when Manhattan was an absolute fucking dump. They paid like $50,000 for this apartment building. It's got 10 apartments in it, right? Take a shot at what that thing's worth now.
I cannot even fucking imagine. Yeah,
millions. And just like you said, this apartment at $3,800 a month. Their cheapest apartment the last time I was in Manhattan, which was years ago, their cheapest one was the loft apartment at $2,400 a month. That's one fucking apartment. There's 10 of them.
Yeah,
dude.
and that's the thing, is like the apartment that they were showing off, it was definitely like some hack job landlord version, because it was definitely not like it was not up to code, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you clearly see that it was like a larger area at some point and then subdivided a bunch of fucking times. Which, absolutely. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, she seemed happy enough about it. So.
Oh, for sure. Well, on that note, cuz I hate to cut it short after blah 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 real estate. I just rolled up to the job site and I gotta get cracking.
Yeah, get at it, man. Love you bunches. Talk to you again soon.
Love you, cuz. Late.